Quite an eventful weekend, if you ask me. It's literally all over the place. Had a joint rehearsal, stopped by at the Love Conference, then had a meeting, then got stuck in traffic twice. And then yesterday I had to be at a Christmas carol. So some weekends are like that. And then there are some weekends that I just want to stay home and not be bothered about anything else. The only thing I want to be focused on is eating and laying on my bed, sleeping, right? And maybe in between see a movie or two, connect with the world via social media. And that's that about that. I wonder the kind of weekend you had. But then it's Monday and I don't like to say the hustle continues. It's usually the case for some people. Well, currently, there is no vacancy, so you may have to try some other time. It's not because there was no vacancy. It's not because of your age, the age factor we've always talked about. It's not because they couldn't pay you what you asked for. They could, actually. It's not because you were underqualified for the job. Underqualification could mean, you didn't have the number of years of experience or the kind of degree or the whatever. No. But because you are overqualified for the job. Isn't it shocking? It's a fairly common situation. Your candidacy for a job has been rejected because you are considered to be overqualified. It's easy, a lot easier, even though some people do not want to admit that they did not meet up with the standard of the qualifications. But it's a lot easier to understand not getting a job because you lack qualifications. But to be too qualified, it can be perplexing. Sometimes having all the experience and then some can make it harder to land the position you want. Being told you are overqualified for a job can feel like someone telling you you are too awesome to date or marry. Come again. You've got the experience of multiple jobs and years of workplace know-how under your belt. How can that possibly be an impediment to getting a job? So this is fairly common these days. Some people in pursuit of their career goals and all of that would usually embark on academic journeys. You're done with your first degree, you feel the need to get another degree, you feel the need to get a master's, and then you're done with your master's, you feel the need to get a PhD. In fact, you get a PhD and then you realize you just want another master's all of a sudden. And then you go back for another master's. And then when you're done with that master's, you feel like, I need another PhD. And then you go for another PhD. So within a period of 10 years, you have amassed a lot of degree qualifications. Add to that the fact that you have probably been with several organizations holding key positions in those organizations. So an opening presents itself. And it could be that you aim to try something new, something different. And you see that opening and you feel it's something you want to take up. You want that new experience, that new challenge. So you move from a sector that is seen as pretty or very much lucrative, has a lot of prestige, and it seems like you're coming down the ladder as opposed to moving upwards. So after being a manager somewhere, one would expect that you should be aiming for partnership for organizations that have that opportunity. You become senior partner, or you should be at the same level with a managing director or board of directors, or you should go from branch manager to regional manager, to district manager or whatever it is. But then you see a role at a somewhat smaller company and they are looking for maybe HR and you apply. It could be for so many reasons. But then the organizations may not understand. Now you tell me, have you ever been told that you are too qualified for a job? How did you handle it? Were you able to convince them that no, don't look at it that way. Don't look at it that way. Yes, I may seem too qualified, but you see, I feel fit perfectly into this role, and I can do my part in ensuring that I take this company from this level to this level by playing my part in this way and that way. Now, aside that, what were some of the awkward responses you got after applying for a job or being invited for an interview? I mean, when they told you that this was why they did not accept you, you look at it, you think about it. On your way back home, you're just pondering on it, and you're beginning to imagine, how in the world's name did they come to this conclusion and think that this was enough reason to tell me no? They should have just simply said, we don't want to give you the job. Why give this reason and that reason? If, of course, it includes overqualification. So let's talk. 0817 923 0002. Again, 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003. That is 0817 923 0003. Join the conversation on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 0306 Again, WhatsApp and Telegram number for your WhatsApp and Telegram messages is 0809 0306 Nigerian for good afternoon to you and welcome. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, talk to me.
Yeah, can you...
Are you with me?
I'm with you. I don't know if it's echoing there because I don't know.
It's echoing here actually, so turn off your radio set, please.
Is it any better?
Oh yes, this is a lot better.
Okay. Okay, so you shared, from what you shared, so my honest response is two things. From my experience so far, hiring ways, you can be, and you can be, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can be over-hiring. Let's say someone is too qualified and someone is underqualified for a role. I've had experience where who I'm looking for is at least somebody at mass, an OND. Then maybe a BSc or SND won't be too bad. But the moment you hire someone with an MSc for that particular role, 3 months into the 3, 4, 5 months into the job, you start hearing comments because perhaps you're paying 100,000 or you're paying something below what you should pay for that qualification. You start getting comments like the normal Nigerian comment. Just imagine me or BSc that they pay me 120,000. When you hire someone above below what they are qualified as underemployment, it affects the job. Because the person, after the first 6 months, when the person is applying for the job, the person is very desperate, so he's ready to go for anything. Then he takes the job 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, the 5th month into the role. Trust me, the person will hardly deliver anything because the person is feeling too qualified for the role, number one. The person is feeling underpaid for the role, and this is against what the person's expectations are when they actually applied for the job, out of desperation, coming from nothing to something. So that's one of the danger of overemploying. Then on underemploying, we obviously know the danger. We obviously know the dangers and the risk attached with the person not being able to deliver from day one. If the person is teachable, yes, it's fine. But if the person is not teachable, then it's the other way around. Then when you talk about the worst kind of response I've gotten for a job, like I think that was in 2008, maybe like 16 years ago, and that's the best thing that happened to me because I would have missed out on my entire career applying for a job as a data entry with one very small organization, and I was told I was not dressed corporate enough for a job that you don't need to dress corporate to. Yes, it's an interview, one has to go corporate, but I was just wearing a trouser, which is a corporate trouser and a shirt, and there was no tie. Just for the purpose of no tie, I was turned down, and that's the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. So
you should have just gotten a tie. But then again, if you say it's the best thing, now in reaction to what you said about degrees, you're probably looking for an OND holder, and then someone with a BSc or a BA shows up, or somebody with maybe MSc shows up. I noticed something happening between the year 2010 up until date. When people go job hunting for a period of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they are not fruitful, in order not to stay idle, they go and pursue a degree, hoping that degree adds, I am a degree hotter. That's what you see on social media these days. Hoping that added degree would increase their chances of getting better placement as opposed to staying idle. So a lot of people who you see as currently self-employed will take that option of going for more degrees just so that it increase their chances. Now, if you're saying going for more degrees will now be a problem for them, what would you have them do instead?
No, I always go depending on what, for any job, on the description they are asking for an OND. If you have an OND, keep your degrees.
Oh, sorry for that. That was the network. Someone on WhatsApp says, "Greetings, Didi. They do not say you are overqualified. They just ignore your CV, or they tell you that they will get back to you. They don't have the guts to tell you." Really? But I mean, they should be able to tell you. Don't they owe you? You're calling for an opportunity. You're calling for a job opening. You should be able to, I believe you owe it to those who are applying to tell them their reasons for rejection. At least so that those reasons they can put into perspective and better prepare themselves for the next opportunity that comes knocking. Right? Nigeria Info, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's Tim Kelvin. I think we were talking some few minutes ago. The call just went off abruptly.
Oh, yeah, I think that was network. So quickly, so we can move on to other callers.
Okay, so I think my advice would be, if you have an OND, a diploma, I would always suggest you apply for that particular role with a diploma. It's best going for now on the job. There are always opportunities on the job. On the job, when you get an opportunity that requires your degree, you can actually apply for your degree. But if you're going for that particular role and you're going as an overqualified candidate and the role does not really require that, the remuneration, that's your salary is not going to match what you're applying for. I think most organizations will turn down such kind of candidate, considering the person is overqualified for the role, and in a long run, redundancy will set in too soon, rather than when you hire someone with an OND and the person is aiming to grow on the job, rather than hiring someone from that is overqualified for the job and there's barely anything the person is learning at that role. So I will always advise, go with if you have an OND, if you have any less qualification, please go with it. Apply with that particular role. You'll get the job. Then opportunities will always be there for you to tender that qualification, that higher qualification that you have. And definitely other opportunities and other roles will come up in other places. But for that
of interest. So while they may not, I don't know this, assume that They are required to do a background check on you, and you have presented far less than you're qualified for. Maybe you have a BA, you have a PhD, and for this job opening, you just present the fact that you have a degree, right? And you're not talking about the fact that you have a master's or a doctorate. What if they do their background checks and they actually find out that you are a lot more than you present yourself to be? Doesn't that also affect your chances? Think about it. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. If you're just joining us, we're still talking being overqualified for a job. And I started off by saying that you can imagine a lot of reasons why you are not giving a job. It could be the fact that there was no vacancy, they couldn't pay you what you asked for, you were underqualified. But what if you are overqualified? Have you ever been told that you're overqualified for a job? How did you handle it? And what were some of the awkward responses you got after applying for a job or being invited to an interview? Simply Goodness says, there is this word I hate. I will get back to you. Because they end up never getting back to you. And by the way, do you know people are paid 25k monthly in this economy? Yes, I am aware. Patrick from HA. Turn off your radio set, Patrick.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Patrick.
Honorable Mother Patrick, I got my friend here.
Welcome.
I am listening to you concerning overqualified. According to your question, if one apply when you have a higher degree, if you be disqualified, I don't think you will be disqualified because they will be aware that you have acknowledged and they have acquired that skills that they needed. He will be employed for him to give out what is in him. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
So, what happened? The reason why people as they overqualified will not be employed, nobody is perfect and nobody is above mistake. You must follow the instruction given to you on that document that you have to follow. Because those things are things that may qualify you. Does not matter your degree. Are you hearing me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You may have PhD, but simple instruction given there, you volunteered it. You will be disqualified on that. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
Simple instructions given is very, very important for you to follow, for you to qualify in any job that you have applied for. So that's my check this afternoon.
All right, then.
There's something I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
If I have all the tests for an interview and I have been invited on a particular interview, what do you think that may make me to be disqualified in that interview? If I have been invited, I did not say if I was there to give my appointment letter.
Well, it depends on what they are looking out for.
In that particular course I did, like me now, I did electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And if I apply under electrical engineering, that is what they needed.
Mm.
And I followed all the instructions and passed all the exams. And I was called to interview.
Mm.
And if I know that interview, the question they asked me, as someone who has been in that field, I passed the questions. What do you think that may delay me or may make them not to call me for an appointment letter.
There's so many
and it's
things.
a concern given to everybody.
There's so many things. First of all, it depends on what exactly the interviewers are looking out for.
I can't hear you.
Patrick, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
There are so many things, but these so many things are hinged on exactly what the interviewers are looking out for the most qualified candidates for that role. So I can't answer that question because you go to this company, they may be looking for something. You go to another company, they are looking for something entirely different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want to add here? So that public will hear me. In this country, there's tribalism. And that is affecting so much persons in this country.
Okay.
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
Do you hear what I said?
I can hear what you said.
I said tribalism is affecting.
So are you saying that the reason
country.
why some people are rejected is because of tribalism?
Tribalism is involved.
Well, I don't think some organizations ask, where are you from? At least, I have been in the workspace for the past 14 years. Yeah? Since 2010. And I've never been to an interview and the first question they're asking or the questions they asked included where I was from. So where did tribalism come into play? Maybe you have experienced it. I haven't myself. So I wouldn't know. And again, to answer your question, Patrick, every interviewer or every panel of interviewers are looking out for something specific for the person who emerges the most qualified candidate to fill in a position. Your rejection will be hinged around. And sometimes it's a dilemma for them because they have a lot of qualified candidates trying to fill in that role. Babajide Olumide on Facebook says, they told me straight up, if they employ me, their director will sack all of them. So you are more qualified than the people. That could be a thing. You are more qualified than the people interviewing you. So they see you as a threat already. Interesting. Blissful Gold on Facebook says, good afternoon, my good people of... Okay, thank you. I think Blissful Gold is just... She's just greeting us. I think it's a she. So back to WhatsApp. Again, WhatsApp and Telegram number is 0809 0306416. 0809 0306416. Anonymous says, yes, it has happened to me before. I thanked them, stood up, and left. My late mentor used to tell me, your main problem is that you don't even realize how great you are. And that's why some people feel they can play with you. I have been through a lot to get the education, experience, and skills I have. So, I no longer tell anyone to downgrade me out of humility, because that always backfires terribly. I honestly don't want to work on projects or be around people that make me feel resentful. Even in relationships, I don't tolerate certain things. If someone tells me I'm better than them or that I'm higher than their level, I've learned to believe them. I once dated a guy who told me I was better than him. I was out of his league and I thought he was just talking. If I were to compare, I'm 1,000,000 times better than the person he ended up with. And the only reason I know was because we had mutual contact since we met at uni. That's why, even with my now husband, if I want something and he says it's not good enough for me and I deserve better, I don't argue. Someone says, additionally, there is a new trend now. Even with your qualifications, they ask you, what can you do? Are you serious? Okay, I can walk now. I can walk. Is that not what I can do? All right then. This one says, Didi, good afternoon. All right, thank you. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Again, 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809-030-6416. Again, 0809-030-6416. Have you ever been told that you are overqualified for a job? How do you handle it? What were some of the awkward responses you got after applying for a job or being invited for an interview? Now, something I mentioned while having a conversation with, I think it was before the conversation, it was after the conversation with the first caller. The fact that they don't get back to you, and you have no means of even reaching them to follow up. I mean, shouldn't organizations be able to tell candidates outrightly that this is why you're not getting this job? Maybe it helps, so that subsequently, when they are going to apply for openings, they will do better. Away from just telling them we'll get back to you, or not telling them anything at all. So whether they are qualified or they are not qualified, don't they deserve to know? I'm saying this because I watched the comedy clip recently, and someone dropped a CV, and after all said and done, the person said, we'll get back to you. And the interviewee had to ask, you'll get back to me? When exactly would you get back to me? I mean, this was more like a no grief for anybody situation or scenario. We'll get back to you. We'll call you. Are you sure you will get back to me? Because you get back to me seems like I'm never going to hear from you guys again. And then they say, okay, we'll get back to you. And the person just said, you know what? Give me my CV. Printing is expensive. To print this thing I dropped for you is expensive. Just jejely return it to me. Return my passport. Return everything. Because from the look of things, your countenance and everything, it already tells me that I probably will not get this job. So why hold on to my CV? Give it to me. Let me take it somewhere else where they probably would consider my application as opposed to, because the chances are that sometimes you present these things to them and they trash it. And like the person said, made a strong point, CVs are expensive to print, especially when they want hard copies and not soft copies. Maybe when you present yourself for a job opening, you may want to consider the qualifications. And if there is ever a possibility that you may be too qualified or overqualified for that position, and you desire that position, maybe out of desperation because you do not want to be idle. Some people say being idle for a while makes them lose their mind and all of that. You probably will want to sell yourself short and follow the route of the first caller who says, present something less. And then subsequently, on the roll, if there is another opportunity, you present those other qualifications that will get you those opportunities. Didi, good afternoon. Mine wasn't a case of me being overqualified for the job, but it was more of a tribal thing. A testing manager in a well-known fast food here in Port Harcourt, I'm trying so hard not to mention her name clearly, told me if she had known that I was from Imbese in Imo State, she wouldn't employ me. She further stated that I'm good for the job, but she has not employed anyone from my place or state in her 20 years plus of being an employer. So I agree with that caller that said tribalism plays a huge role to this too. They might not ask you about your state of origin because it's clearly in your CV. April from Port Harcourt. Now you go put them now. Is that everything you put on your CV? Sometimes there's no why, so there's nothing they can do to improve per se. If I hold an addition, 500 girls show up and we're typically one, do you think anyone has time to send extensive feedback to the other 499? Or that the 499 who didn't get it performed terribly? Makes sense. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. Up next is Trending Stories, and thereafter Sunnyside continues. Stay tuned.
Keeping up with political issues and developments around you only on Nigeria Info.